All right, let's do a market update for ya. What is good, YouTube? We're gonna do a kind of a different video today. Um, so first, we're gonna go check out that Banking Cabal short that I mentioned back a few videos ago. It was about, I want to say, like 2 weeks ago at this point, if I can fucking find where the symbol is. Jesus. All right. XLF. So here we have the S&P 500 financial sector of the S&P 500. You can see we rolled over here. We got underneath our 9 exponential moving average. That's this pink line right here. You're finding support on this 55-day EMA. But as you can see, last time you had equities pump. You did a look above and fail above this. This time you have a huge look above, but now you're retesting it. Maybe this is going to be a shoulder. Not sure here. But the financial sector does not seem to be having too well of a time. And if we take a look at the financial bull 3X, so this is FAS, you briefly pumped above your 200 week, which is this thin blue line right here, which you can see throughout the entire year. You've pumped above, did a look above and fail, look above and fail, and what you know, another look above and fail, and that's for the bull. That's going long finance companies, basically. And here we have the short. So this is going short finance companies. And as you can see here, we've had a nice bounce off of support right there, and then we got above our 9-day exponential moving average, which is this pink line right here. So last time I mentioned this, I believe it was probably around here. You had a bit of a short squeeze and then you got rejected off your 9 EMA, but it's good news that we're above it. Maybe the rally can continue. What I would like to probably see is, sorry, not quite like that. Something more along the lines of maybe go back here and test that and then continue trending up, because you're going to want to test this EMA ribbon at some point. But the point is, the finance companies, at least in the US, seem to be topping out again, as you can see here, here, and here with American Express. If we go to Bank of America, I mean, that really rolled over this week. You can see you did a look above and fail again, and you pretty much just collapsed under your 200-week moving average. That's for Bank of America. BlackRock, probably making a similar structure. Another look above and fail. Back down this way below its 200. And you know, this is great if you have capital allocated to the short, because you know, when these companies are going up, that would mean the short is going down. But now it looks like we may have reached a reversal. If we turn on some channels here, you can see our channel tagged green. Now that doesn't mean it's going to hold green. You see how last time it tagged green, you had a tag and then you did a retest and then you eventually moved further. I think that's probably what you'll see again. You'll see some sort of retest back down to this and then go further if it holds. If not, you'll break down and it'll go the other way. But if we continue, here's Berkshire Hathaway falling below its EMA and tagging red on its on this indicator right here, which kind of shows the channels where it's traveling in. Let's look at Fifth Third Bank. Okay, so huge downward move for Fifth Third Bank. You can probably see some retest and then move below, because this is the 200 week. But you can see we just had a capitulation there. Goldman Sachs, also a capitulation. JP Morgan, a bit of a capitulation. Morgan Stanley also had a capitulation. So all of these finance companies, which the XLF and the these two ETFs sort of track, really taking a hit, and I would say 2 solid closes below the bull market support band, pretty conducive to it going down more. I wouldn't be surprised if you did a retest then went back up here. He did some sort of look back up this way, test the middle of this range right in here, and then eventually failed, and then you would end up making a head and shoulders on the S&P 500 finance sort of division of companies. So right now this Banking Cabal short does seem to be playing to the upside. If you are shorting it, I would be aware and look for pullbacks if you're trying to get into this position, but also be aware there was a short squeeze here, there was a short squeeze here that ultimately played to the downside, and this one ultimately played to the downside. Whether this one is or not, I would wait. Personally, I'm going to wait and see if it tests this area again, then moves up, then you're good to go. Or it could just keep going up, or it could be another fail and you have to range here before you get up again. But point is, the finance sectors on the S&P are rolling over. The companies' stocks themselves are rolling over. So this trade is looking pretty tasty to me. So now we're going to pivot to something else, and we're going to take a look at the debt clock. And why are we looking at the debt clock? Well, I was just talking about the finance companies, and these are the companies that are responsible for doing your fractional reserve banking and all the bullshit that comes along with that. You know, getting bailouts from the government. You know, just a bunch of insider shit. I mean, you know, they're banks. So you can take a look at this number right here, and you can see our national debt is right around 31 trillion. Sorry. Which is just an incomprehensible number. You know, and if you go and look, the Pentagon lost about 2 trillion recently, and they've been doing overnight loans to Credit Suisse and some other companies to the tune of 10 trillion. So these numbers don't really mean fucking anything to the central bankers and the banking cartel. Personally, I don't think the executives, I mean, they probably care that their shares are collapsing, but I mean, think about it. These are millionaires that run these banks, and they're well connected, so they probably know that this is completely unsustainable. And you know what's interesting about this is our national debt broken down per citizen and per taxpayer is pretty interesting here. So if you think about the amount of debt that has proliferated the U.S. monetary base in the past years, the only thing really that can happen from now is a currency reset, a debt jubilee, as the Bible would call it. Or if you're a banker, you would be looking at central bank digital currencies. Now, if we take a look here, we're going to look at some. Yep, they're about control, and they should be stopped. This is just a Forbes article, so I don't know how much I trust Forbes, but central bank digital currencies are coming, and they're going to be used to track and trace every expenditure over $600, I believe. And what other great opportunity to input a new currency that they control via centralized bank ledger. So it's just going to be a centralized number on one of these asshole companies' servers. And it's going to be surveillance finance. They have no way in hell to pay back this debt or any of their deficit spending or all the money that they've been losing. And this is too much debt per citizen. So what they're going to do after the economy fully collapses and we're in pandemic phase 2 or whatever you want to call it, eventually central bank digital currencies are going to be brought forward. And this is all part of a control narrative. But in the meantime, what I'm arguing to you is if you notice that the finance sector could be making this bearish fractal right this way, the speculative one with this yellow line, why not try and take some profit off of the demise of the banking system and off of, the collapse of the US dollar and government as we know it potentially. What I'm saying to you is we could sit around and be sad about it, or maybe try and trade this with me. So just giving you some ideas here. There's no way that we can pay back this debt. Other sovereign nations know we cannot pay back this debt, and they're dumping US denominated treasuries at a record pace. Gold and silver are in very high demand. And despite what you might hear Sleepy Joe saying, the economy is not in good shape whatsoever. We're laden with debt, and we're going to need a new currency system to enter this new world order that they have planned. So in my opinion, central bank digital currencies are right around the corner. They're a perfect way to control everything you do, give you an ESG social credit score. So I really wouldn't be surprised if that got implemented pretty soon. As you can see here, if we go up to, here we go, the yield curve. So the yield curve, which is, U.S. denominated debt, is more inverted than ever. When this thing goes above this yellow line, the economy crashes very shortly afterwards. And shortly, I mean, within a year or two. We're talking about an entire country's economy. So I would say, being able to narrow it down, this well is pretty fucking useful. I mean, it tapped it right here, right before the COVID capitulation. This chart is not showing the actual stock market and economy crash. This is just showing when the yield curve uninverts. So when the yield curve uninverts, again, this time you're going to see an even bigger crash. And when that happens, / it's already happening right now, it would be wise for you to be shorting any of these indices or companies. Because despite what you hear about Santa Claus rallies and all that nonsense, nominal direction of stocks, and these are the blue chip stocks right here, the Dow, nominal direction is still that way. That's down. That is down. Now, if they're planning a global total currency reset, do you think stocks are probably going to go down more when the yield curve hasn't uninverted yet? I would say that is 100% yes. 100% yes. Obviously, there's no guarantees, but I would actually bet. I'd bet a lot on that because historically, every single time this thing uninverts, your economy goes in the shitter. Like right here, .com crash, and then here was your economy crashing afterwards and the recovery. Then you had your housing bust right here, middle of 07. Then here's when the economy and stock market started to really crash. And then there was a recovery, and then here's COVID's, cerveza sickness, pandemic, whatever you want to call it. Here's our most recent version. We'll call it the Great Reset, the Debt Jubilee, whatever you might like to call it, because this is completely unserviceable, and this is what the United States dollar is backed by. So if you take a look at your dollars and you think of all dollars in the system, what's backing the dollars up? Negative $31 trillion. That's what's backing our debt up. And then you might ask, well, what do you mean negative 31 trillion? So that means the government owes $31 trillion to itself because of how much it's spent every single year. Now, it might not make sense as to why the government can do that, but trust me, they can do whatever the fuck they want. They're elite pedophiles with unlimited funding and insider trading. They do whatever the fuck they want. So yeah, US dollar is backed by negative 31 trillion in debt. The dollar's not going to survive. I would give it the end of the decade. I don't think the dollar as we know it will survive into 2030. I think there will be some sort of digital currency. There will be some sort of debt jubilee. They will do something to the money supply, or the dollar itself. Maybe they'll reinstate the gold standard. What I'm saying is that what you perceive as the dollar right now is not going to exist by the end of the decade. I can guarantee you that. And in the meantime, you should be looking to short these companies on the stock market because, why the fuck not take advantage of things going down? So you have Google right here. Google's been just trending downwards in this channel. If we take a look, and we're just, this is just randomly I pulled Google up, but it's pretty obvious to me what's happening here. Let's turn off these indicators so you can get a clearer view, and we'll turn on the line. You're just going down in this channel, and right now you're about in the midpoint of this channel. But let's see. You're still tagged green on this oscillator, so technically you're still in a bull trend. But what I'm saying is overall, the market, not all stocks, but lots of stocks, well-known stocks like Google, Amazon, Tesla, they're all going down. And they're going down because of this problem right here, because of the inverted yield curve, because of the funds rate, because of all sorts of things. But in the end, all you need to understand is that the government printed a bunch of money for free and put it on a balance sheet and said, oh, we owe this much. Well, now all the countries around the world are saying, well, this is complete bullshit. You'll never be able to pay that back. So we're getting rid of your dollars and your treasuries and your bonds, and we're going to buy gold, something that actually has value or holds, relative value. So you can see down here in this corner, dollar to gold ratio 100 years ago was $28 per ounce. Now it's about $4,000 per ounce. And this compares the amount of dollars in circulation to an ounce of gold. So you can see how much here we've printed. And you can also see on this chart, this is the M1 money supply. Let's just take it from, maybe when some of your parents were born, if you have Gen X parents. They've increased the amount of money in circulation 14,000%. And when you do that, and you make a deficit, a debt, be the basis of your currency, it is really no surprise that you're going to have, massive global problems. But honestly, I don't think they care. I think they know this is going to happen. I think it's part of their plan, like the pandemic, to insert central bank digital currencies, to do a debt jubilee, and to insert some form of state-sponsored socialism. Why do you say that? Well, maybe when they have to reset the currency, they get you to sign up for their central bank digital currency one, and they'll say, well, since we know it's a bit of a burden to sign up, since we completely stole $31 trillion from your monetary base and printed as much money as we possibly felt like for the last, forever. Since this is going to fail, and since the proliferation of debt is so widespread, we're going to need a new system, and we'll give you a bit of a stimulus check to move on to our new central bank digital currency. So, maybe they'll give you $800 to switch over to their surveillance finance, but just know that you're giving up your freedoms if you do that, if you choose to participate in that, because the precedent has been set. They'll just inflate your money, off the chain or whatever you want to call it, until it's completely worthless, until you're $31 trillion in debt, which is a number that doesn't even make sense. That's probably, that's kind of incomprehensible to understand, really. No one can understand the gravity of $31 trillion. So some interesting things right here. You can see our debt to GDP ratio historically has been below 50% or around 50% or under, and now we're at 121%. So this is going to need to be corrected in some way or another, and they're either going to insert a new currency or crash the economy, or do some sort of combination of both in terms of pandemic part 2, reset phase 2, whatever you want to call it. So at this point, I also want to point out I have made a Google document that demonstrates, these are all links and stories that you can go click on, and I'll be updating it. But these are all links that demonstrate the New World Organization, the New World Order, deep state corruption. It's got the pedophile stuff, it's got the surveillance finance stuff, a whole series on the pandemic, whole series on the Biden laptop. And this is a great site because it's actually we got the whole thing. You can read his WhatsApp messages, him texting children, him talking to celebrities, him smoking cocaine and crack, all sorts of stuff that the thief Hunter Biden and the Bidens have done, some stuff on man-made COVID. Anyways, I'm going to try to be updating this just to keep it live, but you can also follow me on Twitter, and some of the links will be there. Anyways, this is just some information for you to try and understand what I'm saying, or what I'm saying when I'm saying this is a planned event in the finance market. It goes along with this Great Reset, New World Order thing. And it's all part of one larger scheme to reset the currency to move in some sort of surveillance finance. Anyways, peace out. I wish you the best of luck.